Hello, everybody. Hi, this is Joe Alexander. On May 22nd, around 5 o'clock, I had a motorcycle accident. I've been riding a motorcycle for majority part of my life, and probably because of that, you know, you become you sort of embody an idea that nothing can happen to you because you're experienced. You can predict traffic and you can think ahead of other people. And I have to say that I have. I've avoided many times reckless drivers here in Sunshine State. But on that Wednesday afternoon, tomorrow actually 28 days, I confronted somebody that was, unfortunately, to the last glimpse and last eye contact that I had, this driver had a phone in their hand. Now, I don't know whether if this driver was either texting or on the phone. Long story short is that she attempted to get into a traffic lane, actually into the opposite coming traffic, with very little disregard for speed, very little disregard for other vehicles on the road, and especially me, because she stopped right in front of me. This unfortunately broke my back. I have a L1 that actually is broken. I have a right metacarps that are broken on my right foot and as well as on the ankle area. So I cannot use my right foot yet because I have to wait to let it heal, and after 4 weeks to start gradually putting a little bit of weight on it, and that's where I am right now. 4 to 6 weeks is actually 6 weeks was what the doctor said. I'm testing the waters, trying to move my foot. It's swollen, it's ugly, it's black and blue. So the reason of this video is because I'm highly concerned what most people do today. And I'm not trying to pick a bone with anybody, but it seems to me that the younger you are, the more attuned and more accustomed you are to having a phone at your hand. And because society is the way it is today, everybody has a phone in which the first thing that they do is that they wake up. They don't look at their spouses. They don't look at their loved ones. They don't check their kids. They check their phones. And I get it, because I am also part of that group of people that actually has to rely on social media. But we do have to draw a line. I could have lost my life because simply somebody was paying more attention to either how fast they wanted to drive and how eager they wanted to get there, simultaneously either talking or speaking or texting on the phone as they drove. As an experienced driver, I drive anything from 2 wheels to all the way up 18 wheels. I can actually drive. I can drive a 52 foot long bus. I've driven in Europe, in Asia, and I mean at different parts of the world, different continents. Excuse me, and so the thing is that I am always aware that there's always some other people there. When you're riding a bike, you don't have a chance to text or talk on the phone. You have both hands, and you have to have both hands on the steering wheel. Although I have to admit that I have seen folks that actually, I'm not saying that, if you're in a stop sign and you want to check your phone, that's okay. But I've seen guys on a bicycle with a phone with one hand as they talk, and they're riding their bicycle, which ultimately I think that's beyond stupid, but again, that's my perspective. Again, I've been using a cell phones, since the early 1990s, when there were, those brick cell phones that, some of us had, were privileged to use because of the line of work that we had. And so pretty much that puts me pretty much, I'd say, close to 30 years, if not 30 years, close to 30 years using a cell phone. But I didn't grow up using a cell phone. I didn't grow up, going to school and having a cell phone. And unfortunately, I had a very young person that in their 20s that was on the phone. And I know that she was on the phone because the last thing that I saw was her phone in her hand as she stopped in front of me sideways. So my message to you is that be careful, because one of the things that I was satisfied is that I didn't lose consciousness. Again, I wasn't speeding either. I was staying within the speed limit of the road that I was, which was actually 35 miles an hour. And the good thing about this whole thing is that the driver, which again, I'm not going to get into details, but I can tell you that this driver got out of the car and started complaining to me that I had hit their vehicle. And that gave me a sense of relief. First and foremost, because I knew that this person was fine, was okay, because this person had the ability to get out of the car, walk to where I was laying on the ground with a broken back and a broken foot and a bunch of hematomas, and started pretty much complaining that I had hit their vehicle. And this, of course, was a sense of satisfaction to me, because I knew that I did not harm anybody. That was my biggest concern. I didn't want to, even though I knew that it was not my fault, even though I knew that it was not my mistake, I knew that I did not harm this person. Yet, this is something that this person cannot say about me, because again, it's here I am with a brace that I have to wear, with a foot cast that I have to wear, and I'm in an incredible amount of pain. I cannot work. I cannot walk. I use a wheelchair. And tomorrow, believe it or not, I am going to have a surgery because of this accident. In the accident, my tricep was detached. So that means that they're going to open my arm and staple my tricep back onto my bone. And so this is another aspect of this injury. I have a right shoulder, a left tricep, a left femur, an L1, a right foot, and all these things have pretty much crippled me beyond anything that I've ever done in the past, or any kind. Of course, this is my first, physical accident that I have like this. So this is a life-changing event. I have to thank, first and foremost, all the people that in one way, shape, or other have reached out to me, and there's a lot of people that don't know that this happened to me. And I have to say thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you so much for giving me your support and your love and your attention. And also as well, thank all those of you that have not reached out to me either, probably because you don't know yet. But also, this has allowed me to strengthen a lot of the aspects of my self-meditation, of the time for healing, and of course time to think a lot, because when you're laying for 23 and a half hours on a bed, you have lots of time to think. Unfortunately, there is a lot of pain that does not allow me to contemplate a book or contemplate let me just sit here and relax. On the contrary, I cannot lay on my back very long. I have a limit of about 30 minutes that I'm able to sit down, and I have only my left leg and my right arm that I can use. Starting tomorrow, I'm just going to have even less of, actually I have a little bit of my left hand that I can use, and but anything that is related to pushing away from me, I can, because again, my tricep got detached. And right now, I mean, I'm gonna be after tomorrow, everything goes well. I mean, I'm gonna be in the I guess recoup stage, and getting back on my feet, and of course, I'm very optimistic of what the future brings. This is a learning aspect of this whole thing. It has been a learning experience, many aspects. So again, I have a chance to enjoy my dear and beloved mother that actually is here taking care of her, 50-year-old kid, which again, it's an experience that makes you realize how fragile we are. As a martial artist, as practicing martial arts for 41 years, I know how fragile the body is. Unfortunately, when you impact into a non-moving object, it hurts like crazy. And luckily, I also have to thank, of course, the city of Tamarack. I have to thank my neighbor, actually, one of the second in command for the city of Sunrise Fire Department, and of course, I have to thank my close friends that were on the spot when, even though I was not able to do anything, a good Samaritan, a beautiful lady that I don't know her name, picked up my phone. I told her how to unlock it. I gave her my code, and I asked her to call a couple of people, key elements that were able to make themselves present and take pictures of this whole thing that happened to me. So again, my message today is, if you are texting, if you are using your phone as you drive, today there's so many different gadgets. Every single phone out there has an operating system that allows you to text without even having to use the phone. Every single phone, you can make a phone call without having to touch it. And again, new vehicles have access to different programs and different apps that allow you to just on voice command, like if you were having a conversation with somebody in the car, and just talk to that same person, but without taking your eyes off the road. So again, please don't text and drive, because this time around, I lived. But if we look at things as a parallel universes and all those things that we see in movies, a part of me didn't make it. One part of me didn't make it that day. So I am celebrating May 22nd as a second birthday, an opportunity to start all over again. And of course, getting back on my feet. I have an agency to run. I have people to serve, people that need my expertise, my experience, my devotion, my commitment to giving them the best suitable and most applicable tools for their retirement, for their life, for their health. That's another aspect. If I didn't have the kind of coverage that I had, I would be in a predicament. So again, I thank everybody. I thank you all that have given me your time, your dedication. Hopefully after this surgery, I will be back on my feet again, walking instead of in a wheelchair. And again, instead of actually having constant pain and having to wear these things 24/7, I'm able to just have a resemblance of a normal life. So again, thank you again. This is John Alexander wishing you the best. I will be back on my feet sooner the better. And again, this is a learning curve. This is a learning aspect, and Joe Alexander 2.0 will be back, helping people out, making sure that I go back to teaching martial arts and teaching, helping people safeguard their futures for their families and their loved ones. Thank you. Have an outstanding day.